Saraswati Sisukunj Bhagwala Borsad, English Medium, Standard 8, Subject Science. This is your Semester 2 Unit Test Revision. Today we are going to see question number 1, A and B both. This is your video number 4. Okay, so let's start with question number 1A. Here is your first question. Force acting between two static charges is. So here, two words which will help us to understand the force, that is static and charges. Now charges means it can be both, no, negative and positive, right? Here negative means electrons, positive means protons. So electron, so electro, and here one more word, static. So electrostatic force, easily, right? See the option here. So magnetic force, muscular force, electrostatic force and frictional force. So what is our correct answer? That is electrostatic force, right? Okay, see second question. The strength of force is expressed by strength, right? So see answer here. Magnitude, direction, magnitude and direction or symbol. So here they are talking about strength of the force, means what is the power, how much powerful the force is, right? So here we can say it is used, means it is expressed by magnitude. Our correct answer is magnitude, A option. Okay, see next question here. A fruit falls to the ground when it gets detached from the tree. It curses, means what is the force? Because of that fruit falls on the ground, right? There is a famous story of a Newton that he was sitting under the ground and fruit falls on his head, or in surrounding. So he was thinking that which force, or why it get down on the ground only, why it doesn't fly away in the sky, right? So after that the force that get invented, right, or which is derived, and that force name is gravitational force, right? So our answer will be gravitational force here. Okay, let's see next question. 4 number. If the height of water column is or we can say in the container decreases, there is a container and its height decreases, then what will happen? Okay, now see here there are two containers I am drawing here. This is my first container and here is my second container. Now you can see there is a difference in height. Okay, so here if we talk about the depth of this container is more, and if you compare it with this container, this is A container and this is B container, right? So here if we talk about the bottom, the height of both containers are different, right? So keep that in your mind. Okay, now let's see options. So first one, pressure on the base increases as the height changes. If the height decreases, the pressure increases in the base. Second option, pressure on the base decreases. Third option, pressure on the base remains same. Fourth number option, initially pressure on the base decreases, then it increases, right? First, in the starting the pressure decreases and then it increases. So what will happen? As we all know that pressure, if we're talking about the container and water kept in the container, right? So atmospheric pressure here we are talking about, right? So it depends on the height or depth, we can say depth of the container. So when the container size or height decreases, the depth also decreases, right? So pressure decreases here. Number B option is correct. Pressure on the base is decreases, right? Okay, so let's see number 5. State of motion of an object is described. How we can describe state of motion of any object, right? So here there are options. See, only position of rest, when the object was on the rest it is only required, or only position of motion when that object comes in a motion, so only that time is required, that place is required. And number C, both A and B. And number D is none of given. So actually both things you require, when the object was here on the rest and when it comes in a motion. So for this two we can select the third one here, which says A and B both, right? Okay, so now let's see number 6. Spring balance is used to measure mass of the object, volume of the object, density of the object or weight of the object. So if we have seen spring balance, if you have seen spring balance, so just we have to, there is a hook on which we have to keep our things to measure, and on that thing there will be force which is applied by the earth, or you can say ground, that is gravitational force. And the the definition of the weight is the amount of force exerted by the earth or exerted by land on some object, that is your weight, right? So actually with the help of the spring balance we measure weight, right? So weight of an object we can measure with the help of spring balance. Okay, let's see number 7 now. Force of a friction depends on, so easy, irregularities, or in other words, what is irregularities? See here options, maybe you will get smoothness of the surface, roughness of the surface, or inclination angle of the surface, or area of the surface. So simply roughness, or that is irregularities. So here we can say roughness of the surface. Your frictional force depends on the roughness, how rough the surface is, it depends on that. Okay, now let's see number 8 here. Which of the following statement is incorrect for friction? Now you have to keep in your mind incorrect, right? So we just have to take out the statements which are correct, right? Okay, let's read the statements which is given here. First one, frictional produces heat. Is it correct? Yes, there is example, then when we rub hands, frictional produce heat. So it is correct. A option is correct. But here we are finding incorrect one. So A cannot be our answer. See number B. Friction stop the moving, or we can say motion of the moving object, right? Friction stop the motion of moving object, like brakes, no? We apply the brakes. So yes, the B option is also correct. So B also cannot be our answer. So A and B are gone. Now C and D, from C and D, which is incorrect, that we need to find out. Number C. Friction causes wear and tear in the object. So it is also true, we are not able to wear our clothes for the long period of time, or shoes, right? It get worn out. Okay, so C number also cannot be our answer. Now D number, let's check for D number. Friction is always harmful. So it is not like that. There are advantages also, disadvantages also. In some cases it is helpful also, in some cases there are disadvantages, right? So number D, that friction is always harmful, right? It is incorrect. So our answer will be number D, friction is always harmful. Okay, let's see number 9. Friction can be increased by, now see here, number 7, friction depends on roughness of the surface. And here friction can be increased by, what we will increase to increase the friction? See here, polish of the surface, polishing. If you'll increase the polishing, the friction will increase? No. Next one, using ball bearings. Ball bearings, if you have seen, right, let me remind you the shape of the ball bearing. Right here we are converting sliding friction into the rolling friction. So by converting it, actually what we are doing, we are decreasing the friction. When you are using ball bearing, you decrease the friction. So B also cannot be answer. Number C, increase the roughness. So yes, no, friction depends on the roughness. If you will increase the roughness, so it is correct. Okay, now see the last one. Let's check the last one. Using lubricants on the surface. So lubricants means the substances which reduce the friction. So D also cannot be our answer. So answer is this one. By increasing the roughness, number C, we can increase the friction of the surface, right? Okay, now let's see number 10 here. Airplanes and rockets have blank shape to reduce frictional force. Which kind of shape? Circular shape, streamlined shape, triangular shape, or eclipse shape, right? So the shape which is given to the objects which moves in the fluid, there is a special kind of shape. If you remember, the name is streamlined shape. Direct answer here. B answer is correct. B option is correct. Okay, now see here. Next one, 11. The pitch of sound depends on, now there are two things. If you remember, loudness and pitch, right? Loudness and pitch. Loudness is directly depends on amplitude. Loudness directly depends on amplitude, and pitch depends on frequency, number of oscillations in second. Pitch is depends on number of oscillations per second. So we just have to find out that what are the option. If there is frequency, so directly frequency will be our answer, right? Amplitude is out from the answer. Now see here, So frequency, amplitude, both A and B, and none of the given. So as we all know, amplitude cannot be answer, so here our answer is frequency. Pitch of the sound depends on the frequency, right? See number 12. Loudness of the sound is measured in the unit. The loudness of the sound depends on the, measured in the unit. If you remember this, dB, right? 80 dB, if you remember, right? So see here, what is this dB? Hertz? No, hertz is Hz, no? Hertz, so hertz cannot be Pascal. So there is nothing word like Pascal in this chapter, even Newton, but Newton we use for force. Pascal is not in the chapter. Hertz is for frequency, so what is remain? Decibel. So decibel is our answer, right? Loudness of the sound is measured in the unit of decibel, right? How we are writing that unit? Like this, dB, right? Decibel. Okay, let's see 13 number here now. Sound cannot travel through solid, gas, or liquid, or vacuum. So by solid, sound can travel easily, right? So solid cannot be answer, same gas and liquid. So in vacuum, sound cannot travel, so our answer will be vacuum. From vacuum, sound cannot travel. Okay, see number 14. Which characteristic of sound distinguishes a male or a female voice? So loudness, no, loudness doesn't connect it that male and female. It can be louder, no? Time period, the speaking time period is same, no? Right? It depends on the human. Okay, amplitude also, actually amplitude depends on the loudness. So when you are cancelling the loudness, it means you are cancelling the amplitude. So amplitude and loudness both are out. Time period is also out. So what is remain? Pitch here. This one will be our answer. Though characteristic of the sound distinguishes that it is a sound of a male or a female. It depends on the pitch of the sound or vibration. Okay, next one. Violin, guitar, veena are example of blank musical instruments. So if you will try to find out what is the common between these three things. So guitar, there are also wires, right? Or we can say strings. In veena there is a string. In violin there is a string. So here simply our answer is string, right? Okay, so let's go for the next here. Fill in the blanks. First one. The time taken by an object to complete one oscillation. Time taken by an object to complete one oscillation is called, if you remember, time taken by an object. Here we are talking about time, right? Simply it is definition of time period. So in the blank, what it will be? Time period. Okay, the unit of frequency is just before in the options. I told you there are 4 options for the different units. So unit of frequency is hertz. Hz is the symbol, right? Okay, see next one. Sound travel faster in blank than liquids. Sound travel faster. Now they are talking about liquids, so gas cannot be here because sound travel less here in the, if you are talking about gases. Liquids are written, so third one, what is remain? Solid. So sound travel faster in solid. See number 4th. Loudness of the sound is more than blank is physically painful. I just wrote one thing when I was talking about decibel, right? I wrote 80 decibel. So when sound or loudness of the sound is more than 80 decibel is physically painful. Okay, now let's see number 5. The loudness depends on the blank of the sound. 2 things again, frequency and amplitude. Frequency is connected with pitch. Loudness is connected with amplitude. So here amplitude will be answer. Okay, now let's see number 6 here. If amplitude of the sound becomes double, loudness will become blank times. Look here, if you're talking about amplitude and loudness, so loudness becomes more than amplitude always, right? So it is in a proportional to the square of the amplitude, right? If you want to find out loudness, if amplitude is 2, loudness becomes 4. If amplitude is 3, loudness becomes 9, So here what they are saying, it twice, right, double, so it becomes fourth power, fourth times more, right? So see here, fourth times more the loudness becomes. Number 7, sound of frequency less than blank hertz cannot be detected by human ear. There is a frequency range that we wrote during the chapter, 20 hertz to 20,000, right? 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. More than 20,000 hertz also we cannot hear, less than 20 hertz also we cannot hear. This is frequency range. So here they are talking about less than, right? In less than, what we have to write? 20 hertz. Hertz is also written here, so I am just saying that only 20. Okay. Friction produce, this is third, fourth or fifth time in the paper, right? In question answer also, means it is not a directly, but in some application type or that kind of questions they are asking friction produces blank, so that is heat simply, right? In the explanation also there. So friction produce heat. Number 7, sliding friction is blank than static friction. Sliding friction is blank than static friction. So as I told you, there are 3 kind of friction that we are studying here: static, sliding and rolling. Static friction is highest, rolling friction is lowest, right? And in between that, sliding friction. But sliding friction is also less than or lesser than the static friction. Okay. Number 10, the force required to overcome friction at the instant an object starts moving. Now these words, no, instance, object starts moving, it indicates something which is already given here. Again, this start moving, it indicates this, right? So from the rest is a measure of static friction, right? So when objects start moving, you are just applying some force and objects start moving, that is to overcome the friction, that is known as static friction. Okay, let's see next here. The substance used to reduce the friction are called, substances which reduce the friction are called lubricants. Simple, this is definition only, just we have to put the last word, lubricants. 12 number, smooth surfaces produce blank friction than rough surfaces. Smooth surfaces produce blank friction, so it produces less friction, right? It produces less friction. Rolling friction is blank than sliding friction. Again that 3 frictions, static, static, sliding and rolling, right? So rolling is the lowest one, static is the highest, middle is sliding, and here they are comparing rolling and sliding. So rolling friction is always less than sliding friction. Okay, see number 14. Fluid friction can be blank by giving streamlined shape to bodies moving in a fluid. Now there is 2 words which indicate something: fluid friction and moving in a fluid. Object moves in a fluid or a body moves in a fluid. So there is a special shape which is given to the object, if you know, that is streamline, right? And which is reduced by giving. This streamlined is reducing the friction. What it do? Reduces the friction. Okay. Number 15. When one body rolls over the surface of other body. Here simple, you have to take this word, rolls over the other body. It means they are talking about some friction, and which is rolling friction, right? I hope you understand options, even fill in the blanks, right? If you're not able to understand, you can ask me during the live class of revision. Thank you so much.